shopping odyssey. Madison Square.
For lots of good things to eat, exciting places to go. For computers, new glasses, or even shoes with a bow. For photos to enjoy or a diamond ring. At Madison Square, we have everything. Be sure to check this Sunday, October 12th, Huntsville Times for our advertising circular filled with savings. Just in time for our Columbus Day sale on October 12th and 13th at Madison Square.
It's all at Madison Square, the ultimate shopping odyssey.
Officials of the mall say its greatest single attribute is tenant mix. In other words, once this mall is completed, there will be something here for everyone. Over 140 novelty shops will encompass 5 major retail outlets: Sears, Pizitz, Castornot, Parisians, and JCPenney. The mall is complete with escalators and an elevator, a plus since there is more than 1 million square feet of space in this 2-level structure. As expected, the new Madison Square Mall is going to have a definite economic impact, millions of dollars in revenue to the community and thousands of jobs for the local unemployed.
We anticipate an opening sales volume easily over $100 a square foot, probably closer to $150 a square foot, and then approaching $200 a square foot in a mall of this caliber would not be unreasonable, say 2 or 3 years out.
With the number of stores that are here, how many people are we talking about employing?
Several thousand people, and at Christmas time that number could double.
There has been some speculation that the Madison Square Mall will not open as scheduled. However, officials here told us today that at exactly 9:30 a.m. on the date of August 1st, this mall will be open for business. In Huntsville, Alton Patton, WAFF 48 First News.
Welcome back to Retailpocalypse. In this episode, I want to talk about a mall that I've always thought deserved better, only for it to die a painful death and go under. I'm of course talking about the Madison Square Mall, which was located in Huntsville, Alabama. The mall was located at the corner of University Drive and Research Park Boulevard. The grand opening on August 1st of 1984 was a massive success as thousands of people visited the mall, and there was even a guest appearance by Miss America 1984, Suzette Charles.
It was a madhouse as people from all over the North Alabama area crowded into Madison Square to see what all the fuss has been about. And according to this crowd, the opening of the giant complex has indeed been a grand occasion. The presence of Miss America an added pleasure.
I think she is pretty. My grandchildren wanted to see Miss America, and they wanted to see the ribbon cutting ceremonies. This is the first opening they have ever been to.
Miss America joined a host of dignitaries on center stage for the ribbon-cutting ceremony. A simple event, but for the crowd of people who were able to witness it, it was a moment to remember.
Would it have been better to come maybe later in the week? Perhaps, but you wouldn't get to see the big thrills that's going on right now, such as Miss America.
A little girl wanted to see her very badly. We missed her.
What happened?
Well, we couldn't find the parking space. We rode around for about an hour looking for a parking space, and we finally found one.
A lot of people had that problem. Getting on and off the premises was a job in itself, but one that paid off, as Miss America signed autographs for the children and adults. Late this afternoon, Miss Charles also performed for the wide-eyed crowd before leaving the Valley area, with the simple promise to return. Alice Hargrove, Action News 19 in Huntsville.
When the mall opened, it had anchors JCPenney, Sears, Pizitz, and the Parisian. Well, I did my best to try and find out if the mall's owner during its last days, CBL and Associates Properties Inc., were the ones who developed the mall. I couldn't find any information on that, so for now it is unknown. If you have that information, I invite you to let me know in the comments. For the next decade, the mall thrived, seeing millions of shoppers on a daily basis and even more around the holidays.
Everybody's been kind and courteous. I've been enjoying myself, and I can't wait until Christmas.
What do you like most about shopping for Christmas?
Oh, well, after Thanksgiving, you can catch all the sales, and you don't have to worry about it during Christmas.
Kind of crowded, though, isn't it?
Is it? You got that right.
The mall would see Pizitz be acquired by McRae's in 1988, and McRae's would later be bought out by Belk, while Kassler-Knott would be bought out by Dillard's in 1998. In 2007, Belk acquired the Parisian and moved out of the former McRae's building into the space previously occupied by the Parisian. The mall would also see 2 renovations in 1994 and in 2006, and would see stardom with the pilot of the Food Network show Food Court Wars airing. The show consisted of 2 entrepreneurs battling it out over a rent-free space in a mall food court. The competitors were Kettle and Spouts and Perkins and Sons Hot Dogs. Kettle and Spouts won and moved into the space formerly occupied by Chick-fil-A, but unfortunately closed just 6 months after the episode aired. Personally, I think that the beginning of the end began in 2007 when Belk moved into the Parisian building. After Belk moved, the McRae's building remained vacant for the rest of the mall's life, and crime at the mall began to rise. The earliest crimes that I could find in my research began in 2008 when 3 women robbed a shopper in the parking lot. They asked to borrow the victim's phone, and when the victim handed it over, she was sprayed with mace and had both her phone and wallet stolen. The next crime that I found happened in 2012 when a sneaker riot erupted in the mall in Hibbett Sports due to unruly shoppers waiting to get the brand new Nike Air Jordan shoes.
Robert, thank you. We knew this morning there's some new shoes out, a crowd waiting to get them, and a scuffle happens. Jeff Gray live. Jeff Gray, I know you're near Madison Square Mall where this all unfolded. Where are we now in this thing?
Well, we are actually across the street now because mall management kicked us off the property after they had a crowd form this morning, which their security couldn't handle, so they went ahead and had to call in police. We're still monitoring exactly what's going on with our police scanners, but what we can tell you right now, around 4:45 this morning, a crowd started forming for the brand new Nike Jordan Bred 11 shoes that were being sold at Hibbett's there on the backside of the mall. Security couldn't handle the crowd. They started getting unruly. They called in Huntsville Police Department, and at last count, they had around 8 officers back there trying to manage the crowd of about 50 to 75 people that were wanting this very expensive and very few release shoe this morning. The crowd got out of hand. Huntsville police were forced to pepper spray the crowd. Hemsey came in to decon the customers there. They actually took water and washed their eyes out and provided them towels to get some of that pepper spray out of their face. None of the police officers were injured. There were no big fights, but it was an unruly crowd that they had to maintain.
Then in 2013, more crime took place when 2 women robbed JCPenney. Security was on site, but they were overpowered and the thieves got away. The last 2 crimes I found while researching the mall both took place in 2014. A video of a Belk employee fighting off a shoplifter surfaced online.
Someone call the police!
They calling them.
And just a few months later, the Buffalo Wild Wings restaurant inside the mall was robbed at gunpoint during early morning hours. With all the crime giving the mall a bad reputation and competition arising from online shopping and other nearby shopping centers, traffic at Madison Square went down drastically. In 2014, the mall actually had an opportunity to be revived when the outdoor sporting goods giant Cabela's wanted to build a store at the mall where Sears was located. Cabela's was unable to build at the mall, however, because Sears owned their building and was asking too much for the space. I tried to find the exact sum, but it was unavailable. Cabela's wound up building a standalone store about 5 miles away, and the mall continued its decline. In late 2014, the decline began to get worse. Belk closed and moved to the Bridge Street Town Center, followed by the Dillard's Clearance Center just a year later. Dillard's was downgraded from a full-on store back in 2011, and only the upper level was used, with the lower level being closed off to the public. With only JCPenney and Sears remaining, along with a small number of inline stores, CVL & Associates sold the struggling mall to the Grove at Huntsville, LLC, for just $5 million in late April of 2015. The new owners revealed plans to redevelop the site into Mid-City Huntsville, an outdoor retail and entertainment hub to help revive the part of the town the mall was located in. The mall began liquidation sales in the summer of 2016 and ended on January 8th of 2017, with the mall closing its doors for good. JCPenney closed just a few weeks later on the 28th of January, with Sears closing literally the next day. This left the mall with no retailers, and it was abandoned till demolition began on February 6th to make way for the new Mid-City project. Demolition was planned for the cinema on the complex as well, but a petition was started and just overnight 1,000 signatures was achieved, so the theater will remain. However, one thing I still don't get about the demolition is why crews were so careful with the JCPenney building. It looked similar to when demolition first began on the infamous Rolling Acres Mall, which I plan to cover a video on in the future. Demolition was completed sometime around May 5th of 2017. JCPenney has not yet confirmed if they will return to Huntsville. Sears said they would, but given the current state of the company, I seriously doubt they will make any comebacks of any kind while Fast Eddie Lampert is still involved. While the mall no longer exists, it was beloved by many, and people who got to wander its corridors will always be able to hold on to the memories they made there.
I moved to that town, Huntsville, Alabama, in about 2001. I was just a kid, maybe 12, 13. That was probably the first time I went to that mall, and I remember it being really grand. It was really large, you know, it's like 1 million square feet. It's a really big mall, and it was always buzzing. There was always something going on. You could go over to Timeout. I think that's what it was called back then in the early 2000s. It was called Timeout. That was the arcade. I used to like to watch the kids. They would do that DDR game where you dance like crazy. I remember the food court was always packed. That was my favorite thing, going to the food court. I absolutely loved that food court. Get the Chinese food. There was Chick-fil-A. There was like some kind of a Sbarro, or I don't know if I'm saying that right, but there's all kinds of good things to eat there. The place was just alive with activity. There was just so much going on. Another mall opened up. Everyone started going to that mall. And the other mall kind of turned into the, you know, the down mall that nobody really wanted to go to. A lot of teens hanging out, causing trouble, different things. And I think that's when that mall started to see the decline, when the other mall came in. It basically took its place. But I never really went back in later years, except every now and then to this computer store. I'm a computer guy, I like computers, so I would go in there and, you know, get cables or whatever. I remember one time I went into that mall, into that computer store, and helped the computer guy out before I had a job. This was a long time ago, probably 10 years ago. And I remember he gave me a free DVD burner just for helping him move some equipment. I thought that was pretty cool. And then another time I went in there and I asked for a power cable. He just gave it to me. So I have great memories of the computer store there. Other memories I have of the mall, going there, hanging out with my mom. You know, we get something to eat, whatever. She'd go shopping, you know, just hanging out with my mom at the mall. That was, you know, good times. I didn't really go there with too many friends. I remember meeting a lot of people for Craigslist deals, you know, buying computers and other things in the food court. And I remember grabbing a bite to eat and then selling my computer or buying one or something. So it was kind of a hub, a place to meet people, a place to hang out. Obviously it's a mall, but I had a lot of good memories there, just people watching too. That's a great mall, or was a great mall to people watch and just see all the characters running through there. It's really sad that it's gone. I understand there's something new in its place, but it was kind of sad hearing that it was going away. You know, it's something that's kind of a part of my childhood and young adult life, and it's weird seeing something that grand, that large, you know, just being torn down. Basically, old memories just gone.
Madison Square Mall was once the beacon of shopping. It went from the super mall to a fate it didn't deserve. A fate of a dead mall. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please subscribe and comment your thoughts or memories of the mall below, and check out my other documentary in the Retailpocalypse series on Missouri's abandoned Jamestown Mall. If you'd like to keep the Dead Mall conversation going, I invite you to check out the Dead Malls of Discord chat. It's a really great community, and you can chat with me, Doobie Grunt, Sal of Quite Studios, Jack Thomas from deadmalls.com, and many more creators.